I'm Tom Stearns. I am a consultant, and I typically help CEOs and CROs to fix their revenue teams before they scale. Usually working with companies that are in scale up range 5 to 50 million, or sometimes divisions of enterprises. But that's typically who I help.
What's the first thought that triggered in your mind that maybe it was a good idea to get some mentorship?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You jog my memory on that. So I took a month off to go to Portugal a couple of years ago. And when I came back, it had opened my mind knowing that, you know, I needed 5 to 10 more years of work at at the income level I was making till I got to retirement. And I was a little bored with what I was doing and just was pondering, like, what do I want to do for the next part of my career up until maybe I take it easy in retirement. And so I was looking for part strategy, but like who do I want my client to be? So my head was kind of swimming with like, what do I do? And then how do I get those kind of clients? And I went looking for a resource, a person to help me figure that out. And that's how I landed with you, Marcus.
Do you remember what had changed in your world that made this a priority?
I think I was bored a bit. I had one long running client that was 9 years, and I was doing the same thing over and over again for them, which I had other clients that were fulfilling, but I don't want to be just doing the same old thing because it pays well or because I'm good at it. I wanted to be challenged. So coming back from a month off was like, probably got another wave of my business here. What's really going to be interesting? Like what's going to level this up and what do I want to do in this last phase of maybe my professional career?
So, what did a win in your mind look like at that point?
Yeah, so clarity is what I was looking for. I was looking for, like, I've had a lot of mentors and friends in my life that have helped me figure these things out, and most of them have retired. And so I wanted I needed someone to help me think this through, and not make any dumb mistakes along the way either. Get caught up in something or choose a tactic. And yeah, so that I wanted clarity and focus so that I pointed myself in the right direction to find the kind of business that would be fulfilling.
How did you know it was working?
Well, it was almost immediate. Like two things happened. One, you helped me understand what I was really good at, right? What made me different and better than a lot of other people that do what I do, and kind of shined a spotlight on that. And it gave me a lot of confidence. It was like, oh yeah, I do. I have all that experience. Sometimes we get caught up in our own thoughts. So it was like this clarity of the value I brought. So that was one, gave me a lot of confidence in what I do. Helped me understand where to point that, like what was the kind of work I really wanted. So it gave me that clarity that I was looking for. And then one very, very wise tactical move is that before I spoke to you, I was thinking of actually like I teach a lot of my clients and reps how to cold call. And so I was like, oh, I need to start picking up the phone, and calling all these people. And what you kind of grabbed me by the shirt and said, with the network you have and the connections you have, you don't need to cold call ever again. And what the result was, like, within, I think, a month, I had two like premier clients. So it really didn't take long to be like, okay, go here and here's how you get connected to those people. Use your network. And there was a lot of tactics that we discussed too, but it was really that focus. And in less than a month, I had two really fantastic opportunities, which went on to close and has continued since, that kind of work.
I'm so pleased for you. That's wonderful to hear. Had you tried anything before? What other options were you exploring at the time?
Yeah, I was poking around. I talked to a couple other like sales coaches, executive coaches, and I actually owe Zach Selch quite a bit of thanks too, because I think he pointed me in your direction or he endorsed you. Zach was pretty instrumental in just saying, this is the guy you want. Then you and I met, and immediately I felt that it was going to be the right decision.
Thanks, Zach. um, uh, what surprised you about our first engagement?
I think what surprised me is that is also what good sales looks like, is that you focused entirely on me, right? There was no pitch. Our conversation was what I think you and I ever since have discussed, is like, what is sales? It's really about trying to understand the other person and what their needs, their problems, the challenges are, and what their aspirations are, right? The focus, not the fear, like the where do you want to take it? And you kind of put me through that process where, like therapy, you kind of helped me understand where I really wanted to go and what were some of the barriers to getting there and what it could look like if I got there, sort of the fulfillment of that, which we've gone on to, like, workshop those kind of things with our customers and clients and prospects and things. So I think it was that kind of experience where I felt you really got to know me. And just in that process alone, I think I got a lot of clarity from maybe even just the first discovery call of like, oh yeah, that's what I'm trying to do here. So yeah, that was the wow moment, I guess.
When you look for someone to train you, what causes you to feel safe to trust them?
Knowing that they have my best interests at heart, right? I never feel like you're trying to get something out of me or sell me something or, you know, you know, keep me paying for the service. It's always about the moment in time of like, what are we dealing with? What's the situation? How do we deal with it? And there's a good blend, I think, of strategic and tactical, right? I think you and I are alike this way. Like the big picture does matter. So, but what a lot of people need are when you get that kind of objection or that meaty psychological discussion that points the tactics, you're incredibly well versed in those too. And I really like that blend. So I guess I never not feel safe. Like I feel like you have my best interests at heart, but I also like in the workshops and the discussions is that, we can get into the nitty gritty of like, what exactly did that person say? Okay, let's unpack that. And I like that. And I think a lot of reps or people that might come to you for your services is that you're not going to get platitudes, you're going to get like how to really deal with situations and how to handle them or look at them differently and apply things that can be applied by anybody at any level of sales or just actually life, probably.
If we look at the different ways that we work together, there was obviously the one-to-one, but there was also the group work. Let's focus on the group work first of all. How did those practice labs and the practice moments help in reality when you're dealing with a real life customer?
Yeah. So some of the things I loved about the practice labs is that I think when there are other people in the room with different scenarios, that's when you learn a lot. It's also the actual role play of a particular problem, the way you might handle it. So that's one of the tactical uh, aspects of your workshops, I think, that have tremendous benefit. Yeah.
And I think that's really critical that we take the part of the buyer, because feeling what it's like to be on the receiving end of our sales pitch is probably some of the most instructive stuff that I've ever learned from. I'm curious how that helped you understand your customers better.
I think where it helped me was that while I was in those workshops, I was still negotiating deals. I was writing proposals. I remember one to get specific. One thing I'd always wrestled with was, you know, creating a proposal, and one of the obvious things one of the things that you made obvious to me is that why are you going off and writing a proposal, right? You should be writing the proposal in discussion with your customer. So that changed my process quite a bit and helped close more deals, by the way.
Lovely.
So that was a process tweak, but also tactically we workshopped that. So I felt now that I had done it with you, my next discovery call, I just put into practice. I had a couple reps under my belt, and it was easier.
So, what's changed materially since we started working together in terms of your results, the sales cycle lengths, conversion rates, anything like that?
I would say that the deals that are unqualified are disqualified faster. So I know we're starting with maybe what appears to be a negative, but is really a positive, right?
A
Why
huge positive.
why are you taking work or spending time on stuff you don't need? So it has given me a lot of clarity on like the kind of work I want, and then the ability to assess it. Like my ICP is better defined. My ability to focus on it and to disqualify faster is better. So that helps for sure. The ability to close faster. I don't know if I have the data at my fingertips, but certainly because of that sort of process discussion, that is sped up my deal cycles. I would say considerably. Sometimes shaving a month off of them. Um, the average deal size uh, is continuing to go up. I would say one of the really more positive things I've done since is my biggest client right now and a long running client right now, and that just continued another quarter. They asked me to, to bring the price down. And I just said no. I said, I've got plenty of other opportunities. If you want the most out of me, you're going to pay that. It's just what it is. And would you want me to like discount and then teach your reps? Like how can I teach your reps not to discount and then discount for you? And I think that was an argument you gave me specifically, which worked, right? So now they're a very well-paying client. I'm very safe. It makes me feel great. Like I'll give you everything I got. You're paying my fair price. And they're more than satisfied. They're crushing it. I'm very proud of that particular client, and they're a great team. Like, that you and I, when we work with people, it's not just about what we do. It's are they the right clients? This goes back to discovery. I knew early on that this was a client that I could work well with, and it's turned out so, and they're just amazing. So,
And in terms of the challenge, have you been able to pick up more interesting work?
absolutely, yeah. I would say all of the work is is more interesting. The client that I was completely bored with was my 9-year client, and we hit a moment in time where I actually was at a hockey game with my champion, and she was in sales, but marketing paid the budget, large enterprise client. And I knew marketing was cutting the funding. And I was bored. And she basically leaned over to me at the hockey game and said, "How bad do you want me to fight for this?" And I said, "I'm good. We've done our time together. You don't need me anymore, and I don't need this anymore." And was able to walk away with it with confidence that I'll go and compensate for that, but also that it was right. And I don't have any boring work right now, any overly repetitive work right now, Marcus.
What did you feel was impossible before we started working together that became possible?
I guess what became possible was the confidence to know that you can really, that I had the skill set to build a plan, to go after the clients I wanted, and to do it in a repeatable, sustainable way through a network that existed already. So I'm still on LinkedIn. I still publish a lot of content. I do that for credibility, to remind people I'm there. But I think what didn't feel possible before was like, how am I going to find this business repeatedly and continue to be challenged? And I think what felt possible after we worked together was both the confidence, the clarity, the definition of the ICP, all of the like nuts and bolts, and a methodology to go and get that continually up until the point when I retire, which is not too many years away.
So tell me this then, what have you given up worrying about?
What have I given up worrying about? I guess I've given up worrying about whether I have to play a game, if you will, like play someone else's game.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of consultants out there. There's a lot of that. And like, I don't feel like I have to play the game on anybody else's rules. That I offer skill set. I've got endorsements. I've got the right people in my corner, and the referrals just keep coming. Like I turn a lot of business away this year because I have a limit too. So my my wife helps me stay to this, is like no more than 5 clients, because once I hit 5, my brain is split in too many directions.
Yeah.
And I've gone to 7 because I'm get money hungry. It's like, whoa, that's a lot of, I'll keep taking that, but it's not worth the stress. I don't work Fridays. I want to work 4 days a week. I want to be able to spend time with my family. So all of that balance, there's enough money, there's enough interest. It's, yeah, it's sustainable for what I need. And I feel in a good place to just
So,
do what I do for who I want to do it with, and walk away from any stuff that seems tedious.
so if you could start fresh, what advice would you give yourself at the start of the journey?
I think it didn't take me too long to find you. The difficult thing was maybe I'd been thinking about a third party to help me through for a year or so, because I was maybe muddling in the boredom and like, where am I going to take this? What, where do I want it to go? Finally, the vacation, the month off was like, you need some help here. So maybe I would have sought someone like you sooner. I think once I engaged in it and then found you from the first conversation, it didn't take very long uh, to for you to help me right the ship and get a lot of confidence in the focus of where I want to take it.
That's great to hear. So tell me this, who would you recommend me to and why?
Anyone that maybe is trying to either start their own business, has their own business, maybe is a small business that needs to find clients, maybe is an entrepreneur or a consultant. So I think anybody in that area is going to get the blend of sort of the strategic from you, the thinking it through, but also the mechanics of like, okay, let's define your ICP. Let's define a strategy to go get them, how to talk, how to run the full sales process. So anyone that needs to find business, they're going to get some direction, but they're also going to get all the mechanics of how to do that. But I also think, like any salesperson, whether you're an account executive or an aspiring SDR moving into an account executive role, or throughout your career, and you just want to continue to refine your skills on how to market or sell what you're doing and want to improve your skills to close more, to generate more revenue, to climb the ladder, I think all of those people would benefit from working with you too, Marcus.
Brilliant. And in terms of management and leadership, what would you say to sales leaders or go-to-market leaders?
Well, I would put them in that that bucket of like those that are climbing up the ladder. So anyone that you're leading people and you need to lead them better, certainly so fall into the same category as those younger people. So I think anyone in their career that's, I guess I lean on sales, but I think you've got more than that. So it's not just the sales discussions, but I think anyone in sort of the sales leadership role or CEO sort of or founder trying to build a company that needs some clear direction on how to build a way to sell and how to lead people to sell, they should speak with you.
Thank you. Have I overlooked or failed to ask a question that I should, that you'd have a burning answer to give?
Yeah, I think there's a question you didn't ask me, like, was it fun?
Yeah.
And I would say, yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's the other thing is that you're quite a character and you bring a lot of fun and entertainment and it's always a good time, being on a Marcus workshop or one-on-one. So it's a lot of fun too, and that's important.
Tom, thank you very much. Really appreciate this.